Hello and welcome to the Matthew Allton Art channel again. As you can see, I've got the reference photograph up for this video, which is a bit unusual. I normally don't put the reference on because I don't want people to compare the work exactly as to whether it's like the photograph or not, because I don't think that's the important thing when creating artwork really. I took the photo when I was on a walk along some of the National Forest Way long distance footpath that wibbles its way around a part of Staffordshire in early July, and I thought it would make a painting at some point, so this is me trying to create a gouache painting of it. The paper that I'm working on is A4, and you'll see that it's white. I know that a lot of you that follow the channel will know that I work normally with gouache on beige paper, but the beige paper pad that I have isn't quite A4 size, so this time I had to work on white. And that does have implications on the end result, as you'll see. So you can see that I'm just drawing out the main tree, being quite detailed about this because I want it to look sort of quite a decent, detailed drawing, painting at the end of it. And here's where we start putting the actual paint on. I've sprayed the paper with a spray bottle to wet it, and I'm just putting some washes of the main colours in there. Forgot to press record on a little bit of the video there, that's why it jumped, but you can see how it's building up. I let the background colours dry before I started applying the tree. It was quite a difficult painting to do, this one, and you'll see that I wasn't particularly happy with it at the end of this first sitting, which is when I would normally finish painting. I think it's partly because I'm working on the white paper and the white was showing through. You can see that the tree trunk already is quite pale and looks quite watercolour like, because I'm using the paint quite thinly. But you'll see that at the end of the video I try to go over what I've already done and improve what I've done. And of course with gouache you can do that a little bit really. Watercolours it's a bit more difficult. I wanted the colours to be more vibrant than they end up being after this first sitting. As you can see, I'm not being slavish to the actual original. There are variations, subtle variations, but the character of the tree is certainly in the painting. I was painting this to submit it to a new organisation that's opening soon in Leamington Spa, which is near to where I live. They're having their first exhibition. Wasn't quite clear what the brief was for it though, I couldn't really make it out, but it was talking about roots and things, and I thought maybe a tree. I'm not sure it's really what they're after, so I don't know whether it will get accepted or not, but I've tried at least. You see I'm using quite a thin sort of rigger brush for these branches. And again, I'm not representing every branch that is on the photograph. It's a matter of trying to recreate the character of the photograph. Now I'm stippling with a fan brush actually to try and indicate the leaves in the canopy. One of the problems with it at the end of this first stage, as far as I was concerned, is that there wasn't enough light showing through the canopy, which made it overall quite a gloomy but very green painting as well. And it is a green reference photograph. The light certainly on the tree trunk is green, but there wasn't enough air in the canopy somehow, which you'll see at the end of the video is what I try to rectify. with having the 2 sittings on it, I think it took about 3 hours, something like that, to complete in total, maybe a bit more. Just having a go at spraying there, or splattering, using a bigger brush and flicking the paint on for the leaves. You obviously don't want to be indicating every single leaf on a tree, or else you'll be at it forever. I sort of gave up on the splattering because it was too fine a detail. I've sort of begun to notice that the tree trunk is a little pale, and that's where I'm trying to add some darker shadows. It's quite difficult to add darks with gouache because even black dries with a chalky sort of feel to it, which lightens it. Starting to work a bit on the path and the background now. Trying to make the greens at the back a little bluer, and also the trees a little bluer because they're in the distance. I'm trying to exaggerate that. One of the things that could have been improved is if you look at the reference photograph, that those greens on the forest floor in the background are much brighter than I've made them, and that would have helped probably if I'd have made those brighter. I don't know if I fixed that in the second sitting or not, but certainly looking at it now, that's one of the possible problems with the painting. I'm left at the end of the video, even after the second sitting, thinking it's okay, but there's just something that isn't quite right about it. Here's me trying to add some white, which of course you can do with gouache. You can add thick white, trying to reintroduce some of the sky colour. But it doesn't quite go far enough, and I carry on doing that in the second sitting. You see, I've just started to lighten slightly the middle ground. Now trying to add some more paint to the tree trunk, which, as I said right at the beginning, looks more like a watercolour painting because the white of the paper is showing through the thin paint. Trying to add some pinks here just as a contrast to the greens, because it ends up being quite a green painting. Going a little off piece there, and I'm adding a bit of sort of indication of vegetation in the foreground there. As I said right at the beginning, the reference is sort of purely there as inspiration, really. You can do what you like with the painting itself. that we're getting towards the end of the first sitting really, which is where I would normally have called it a day. But I wasn't quite happy with it. So as it's gouache and you can continue, I did another sitting. So this is the picture at the end of the first sitting. To be honest, it doesn't look too bad revisiting it at this point. One of the problems I thought that there was with it is that it was quite colour naive, but actually in the photograph certainly you can see some purples in the shadows on the left, mauve type colours. Obviously it's going to be a predominantly green painting, as the reference is predominantly green. But I just wasn't quite happy with the tree. I think it would have been fine as a watercolour painting, but a gouache painting it needed a bit more colour variation. And a bit more depth of colour, I think, for me. Well, this is me returning to the painting a couple of days later or the day after, when I'm trying to make it look less like a watercolour painting and more like a gouache painting, i.e. more opaque colour, more colour variation. So you can see I've started. And I have started to lighten up the mid-ground where that path is as well, which I mentioned in the first part of this video. Trying to add some more darks on the tree trunk. And adding more thick paint, coloured paint, greens for the tree trunk. And you'll see that I add some blues into the shadows and stuff during this second sitting as well. I don't know if you can see from the reference photograph and the painting itself indeed, that it's actually two beech trees that have joined together. So there's a branch that has actually sort of joined the trunk of the other smaller tree behind. But it's certainly a characterful tree and very worthy of being painted, in my opinion. Slightly move the paper here in my excitement of painting. Hoping I'll move it back in a minute so you can actually see what's going on. There we go. It's one thing that you often forget when you get into painting, that you are videoing it. Try to lighten up the foreground a little, returning to that distant path again. Don't know if I lighten the greens as I said in the first part of this video or not. I can't remember. You can see that I've added much more vegetation on the left than there is actually in the reference, deliberately just because I like the composition of that better. Here I'm returning and adding white, much more white actually, into the canopy. And I think that helps make the painting look a bit more airy and a bit less overall green as well, really. Because I darkened up some of the tree trunk, I had to darken up some of the branches. It's a balancing act, really, tonal variations. When you make something darker, you sometimes have to address that in other areas of the painting. But that's about finished. Well, these are the two versions of the painting side by side. What do you think? I'd be interested to hear. Was there an issue with the painting after the first sitting? Should I have done more over the top of the original painting? Has it improved the original painting? Or did you prefer the first version? Art is so subjective that it would be really interesting to see other people's opinions in the comments, really. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Something slightly different to what I normally do. Showing you something that didn't go quite right as far as I was concerned and how I tried to fix that. Have I fixed it enough? I'm not sure. But overall, it's okay, I think, the end result. Thanks for watching. Do give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you did find me by YouTube promoting the video to you and you've enjoyed it, then do consider subscribing. That will really help the channel grow. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for your time. Bye.